The Frostbitten Hand. It had been 3 years since Grandpa Harold passed away, but the family still remembered his gruff voice and warm laughter, especially during Christmas. He always insisted on spending the holidays with them, claiming it was his favourite time of year. The first Christmas after his passing, they were all startled to find a faint handprint on the living room window on Christmas night. No one could explain it. They'd cleaned the windows earlier that day, and no one had touched them. It was a large, smudged handprint, just the size of Grandpa Harold's. "It's his way of saying he's still with us," Grandma Ruth had said, her voice trembling but hopeful. The family grew to accept it as a strange but comforting sign. Every Christmas night, the handprint would appear, lingering for a few hours before fading away by morning. They began to leave it untouched, treating it like a cherished tradition. But this Christmas was different. It was snowing heavily outside as the family gathered by the fire, laughing and exchanging gifts. The window fogged with condensation from the warmth inside, and at the stroke of midnight, just as always, the handprint appeared. "There it is," Grandma Ruth said softly, smiling through her tears. The family crowded around the window, marvelling at the print. But then Lot, the youngest of the group, gasped, "It's moving!" Everyone turned to look more closely. At first they thought it was a trick of the flickering firelight, but no, there was no mistaking it. The handprint began to shift, the fingers curling slightly, pressing harder against the glass. The laughter died. Grandma Ruth clutched her chest, her face pale. The handprint didn't fade like it usually did. Instead, it grew more defined, as if the hand were pressing harder from the other side. A faint scraping sound began, sending chills down everyone's spines. The fingers dragged down the glass, leaving streaks in the frost. "Someone's outside," Uncle Frank muttered, grabbing a flashlight and heading for the door. But when he shone the light outside, there was no one there, just the pristine snow, untouched by footprints. Inside, the handprint continued to move. It wasn't just dragging down now. It was clawing, scratching, as if trying to break through. The sound grew louder, nails screeching against the glass. "Turn off the lights!" someone shouted. They did, plunging the room into darkness, except for the faint glow of the Christmas tree. For a moment, the noise stopped. But when Lot looked back at the window, she screamed. The hand wasn't alone anymore. Another handprint appeared beside it, then another, and another. Soon, the glass was covered in grasping, clawing hands, all moving, all desperate to get inside. "What do they want?" Grandma Ruth cried, clutching the cross around her neck. A low, guttural moan echoed through the room, coming from nowhere and everywhere at once. The glass began to crack, tiny fractures spidering outward from the pressure of the invisible hands. "Get away from the window!" Frank shouted, pulling Lot back just as the glass gave a deafening snap. It didn't shatter, but a long crack now split the pane. The moaning grew louder, and the family huddled together, paralysed with fear. Then, just as suddenly as it had started, the noise stopped. The hands vanished. The room fell deathly silent. Cautiously, Frank approached the window, shining his flashlight on the cracked glass. For a moment, there was nothing, just the frost and snow outside. But then, faintly, a new handprint appeared in the centre of the crack, smaller than the others. And beneath it, written in frost, were 3 words. "Let me in."